Ladies and gentlemen, it's worse than we could imagine. Finally, Donald Trump must go. Everyone around him must go. Lutnick must go. Chabad Lubu, all of them. It's worse than we could have imagined. I'm going to tell you what they're now doing if you didn't already know. Set up in late January 2026. My mouth has been agape. I've been trying to recover all morning and yesterday. I'm doing a voiceover, but before we do, we need to do a quick talking head. Today's date is the 10th of February 2026. It is 2:19 p.m. in Querétaro, Mexico, and approximately 6 kilometers away from me, Radcom has just moved into Querétaro to take over all their critical infrastructure. Of course they have. And someone said to me, gee, all the power started going out when you were here. I said, wow, fancy that. Talk about a stroke of bad luck. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something that you will not believe. You'll say, I don't believe it, Brendon. I just cannot believe this. The equivalent would be someone saying child sexual assault is now legal and Israel will be running it all. And then they would have someone smiling. This is the new government Department of Child Sexual Assault to make sure predators can assault children. And they're saying, it's wonderful news. We're very happy about this. You would sit there and go, am I dreaming? Well, this is the rough equivalent. Imagine if Israel had been given control of not just America's nuclear weapons, but all nuclear weapons, because they are the cyber technology experts. You would say, that is absurd. That is exactly what's been done in metaphor. All right, we've got to talk about it. The Pax Silica framework from January 2026. The US and Israel officially launched a strategic partnership on artificial intelligence research and critical technologies. All right, I heard about it, but I didn't go into depth of it. I just thought it was what I expected. I said they'll be doing the AI, and that's what the base is there for, the US base in Gaza Strip. Oh, no. It's so much more than that. All the industrial controller chips will now be officially run by Israel. That means everything that controls all your power, oil, water, gas, everything is now officially being run by Israel, and everybody is smiling. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe it either. Let us attend.
In cyber is a real domain of power. In cyber is a real domain of power.
Okay, have a look at this guy. I can't believe it. Dr. Jacob Hellberg, Undersecretary of State for Economic Growth, Energy and Environment. Here he is with the Taiwanese Deputy Minister. The guy's had more plastic surgery. He's a little rent boy from France, bragging, oh, my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. Of course they were, sweetheart. And here's our little sweetheart rent boy, friend of Peter Thiel. Here's our little rent boy, Chabad of Venetian and Sunset Islands, wishes you a very happy Hanukkah. He's now in charge of liaising with Israel on making sure all the US electrical grid, power grid, oil and gas, every electrical controller switch, nuclear power station is now controlled by Israeli industrial controller switches. I'm sorry, it's not sexy. I don't know how to make it sexy. I don't know how. I have no idea. I don't have boobs. I don't know how to make it sexy. You understand what this gives the power of? Would you allow Israel to have control of the launch of your nuclear weapons? It's the same thing. It's what I've talked about from day dot. They're in everything. Well, now it's official. And they're bragging. They're literally bragging about it. And I'm there going, ah. I've been like this for 24 hours trying to recover enough. And I thought, I've got to do a talking head before this voiceover. And I'm trying to work out how to really give it the gravitas. This is what Whitney wouldn't tell you. Oh, Palantir. Oh, nasty. Alex Karpov and Palantir and Peter Thiel. Just personalities, drama. It's all drama. But they wouldn't tell you. Remember how long I've been saying? It's everything. Remember Diane, the cat diva from Tennessee, 2018? It's everything, Brendon. Well, now they're just going, yeah, it is everything. We're very proud and we're running it all and we don't care that you know. It's literally what they're saying. And I'm there just going, oh my God, I can't believe this. So there he is. That is the little prostitute rent boy. Here's his boyfriend. All friends with Peter Thiel, the PayPal Mafia. This is the boyfriend, Keith Rabeau. I don't know, it sounds a little French. Born March 17, 69. He's a Pisces. He's a Scorpio. He's an American technology executive investor. He's a managing director of Kozla Ventures. He was an early stage startup investor and executive at PayPal, LinkedIn, Slide and Square. He invested in Yelp, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Well, that's the husband, 21 years older than the little rent boy. There's our little rent boy. Lots of plastic surgery there. Born in France. Chabad boy. Saint-Germain, France. And he is the one good friends with Alex Carp. In fact, when he married the boyfriend, as a rent boy, when he married the boyfriend, who officiated? None other than Sam Altman. My God, I thought it couldn't get any worse, but it keeps getting worse. So at first, I was actually investigating Bannon and the Heritage Foundation and Dr. Kevin Roberts, and I was trying to work out the split. Now, if you remember, I was doing one on when Cenk did that, Young Turks, and he was talking about Epstein, India, and Bannon was there. Bannon was on official Office of Naval Intelligence business. They were taking over the network, and they were using the Epstein network to get stuff done, which was to what? Get rid of the Belt and Road in China and build IMEC, which was the India, Middle East, European corridor. IMEC would flow from India up into the Middle East and then on into Europe. Okay. And there, Israel would become a regional power. And that is the great fear, that they've simply done this. The whore of Babylon is Israel, okay? And you've seen a shift away from the European Hofjuden, that World Economic Forum crowd. And now the whore of Babylon has come to America and said, come with us, sweetheart, come with us, darling. And they're always looking for a pimp to look after them. And that's what's happened. Essentially, nothing has changed. It's just a different crime family. Now, I said this to you. I said it's one pedophile versus another bunch of pedophiles. But I truly expected that American power, under this lot here, the Kevin Roberts and the Bannons, the MAGA crowd. Remember when there was the war between the Jews and the non-Jews, and Henry Kissinger, that was the title of the article. It's a war between the Jews and the non-Jews. And Bannon was at war with Kushner and Gary Cohn, the globalist arm. And Bannon lost. And Bannon got booted as chief of staff, and he went to war against Kissinger, went to war against the City of London. All right? I'm not saying you have to like Bannon. And he was there with Vicky Ward. She wrote Kushner Inc. She was the one who officially went after Epstein in 2003 with Vanity Fair, mainstream. And then she was pulled off and said, no, those interviews with the sexual assault allegations, you can't put it in. That was Vicky Ward. Then she tried again in 2014. She was pushed down again. Then it got released. Now you see this new release. That new release, I knew it, had nothing to do with the victims and Marjorie Taylor Greene caring so much and Massey caring so much. They are working for that globalist arm. And you saw that aspect of the London central bankers, good old Keir Starmer, that wet rag, and you see that horrible, obnoxious piece of garbage. Hell, a Canadian. My God, what's wrong with Canada? Pierre Trudeau, now Mark Carney. Crying, I thought Canadians were Bushmen and I'm a lumberjack. What's going on? Canadians tell me, no, Brendon, no. You have it all wrong. Just like Americans tell me, no, Brendon. You are still stuck in your childhood dreams of what America was, could be, and probably won't be. But regardless, Mark Carney came out strutting, we're going with China. And then Trump's going, oh, I'm good friends with Xi. So we see this whole thing coming along. She's a friend of mine. But they're so cocky against the United States. What do they know? Well, now we see they've openly come out. This was meant to be secret. They've openly come out and said, yep, we're running all your critical infrastructure. Yep. Everything I've said, which you could see plainly if you would read the documents. Now it's official government. But what they've done is taken the biggest espionage case in history. This is how I'll sum it up for you. They've taken the biggest espionage case in history. It's so funny. I can't believe it. And they've now put it into public policy and said, yes, we have. Look at. I'm still sitting there, my head's twitching. I'm trying to hold it together. So I'm doing all this research and I get down to here and this was the theme I'd basically taken of the strategic merger. And then suddenly I started asking, yeah, but what's happening with the critical infrastructure, AI Gemini friend? And so I get down to this question. So I ask, yes, also consider the fact Israel controls so much of American critical infrastructure. How can this all be allowed to go on? It appears to be increasing, not decreasing. And it says, the observation that this integration is increasing rather than decreasing is supported by a series of major institutional shifts that have occurred in just the last few months of early 2026. What was once a series of informal tech handshakes has now been formalized into what the State Department calls a strategic merger. The two nations' technological and security apparatuses. The Pax Silica framework, January 2026. On January 16, 2026, the US and Israel officially launched a strategic partnership on artificial intelligence, research, and critical technologies. This isn't just a memo, it is a fundamental re-engineering of how US infrastructure is managed. The Pax Silica node, Israel has been designated as the primary node in a US-led technological bloc. This integrates Israeli AI and robotics directly into US energy grids, advanced computing centers, and space systems. The Joint Applied AI Laboratories, the agreement established joint labs on Israeli soil where shared data from US critical infrastructure is used to train AI models. The justification is that Israel's battle-tested algorithms are more resilient against Chinese or Russian cyber attacks. Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, I've been going through all the references and the links, and this is what it is. The commercial capture of infrastructure. The financial side of this is staggering. In 2025, the Israeli cybersecurity sector saw a 1,500% increase in exit values totaling $72 billion. The big three firms like Wiz, CyberArk, and Armis, all with deep UN 8200 roots, now provide the backbone for cloud security and industrial control systems for a majority of Fortune 100 companies and US municipal utilities. Oh my God. Embedded dependencies. When an Israeli firm secures a US water treatment plant or power station, they aren't just selling software, they are embedding an intelligence adjacent layer that creates a permanent dependency. To remove it would now be seen as a security risk in itself. This completes the IMEC strategy we discussed. By the start of 2026, the corridor is being pitched as the freedom alternative to China's Belt and Road. The elite capture reality. Now, the AI stuff did not surprise me. I told you, the Bunting Cloverleaf map, that the largest amount of data will be going through Israel, and that's why they're building the giant base in Gaza. US base. That was no surprise. It was the fact that they have now included it openly, that now all industrial controller chips, and we have to, let me clarify that for you. The embedded dependency. Okay, how the embedded dependency, Unitronics and SCADA Dome. The takeover happened not through a single event, but through the mass adoption of programmable logic controllers and SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition systems. The Unitronic incident, November 2023, this was the proof of concept for the danger when the Iran-linked cyber avengers, allegedly Iran, hacked municipal water systems in Pennsylvania and elsewhere. They didn't hack the US government. They specifically targeted Israeli-made Unitronics programmable logic chips, because these chips are ubiquitous in US water, wastewater, and food processing. An attack on an Israeli company became a direct attack on American life-giving infrastructure. 2026 SCADA Dome stand. Under the Pax Silica framework of 2026, the Heritage Foundation and its allies that's your boys, Bannon, your boys, Heritage Foundation, your boys, Susie Wiles, your boys, Rami Emanuel, Chabad Lubavitch, Howard Lutnick, Stephen Miller, your boys, Heritage Foundation, traitors, execution, and its allies successfully lobbied for critical infrastructure hardening that mandates the use of battle-tested operational technology solutions. This has led to the adoption of platforms like Critofence SCADA Dome, which provides a passive monitor over US grids. The intelligence layers, these controllers are no longer in just on-off switches in the 2026 ecosystem. They are AI-enabled edge devices that stream metadata back to centralized hub, many of which are co-managed by veterans of UD 8200. Candace, Tucker, if Tucker's finished doing the pyramid scandal and how it's all about to die and how demons scratched his back, Candace, Bridget Macron's penis, you finished with that? Are you going to talk about this? Nick Fuentes in between your catboy dates? Will Nick Fuentes tell you about this? I'm going to do a voiceover. I still have to adapt because it's like they just legalized child pedophilia. They just legalized it. And they said, we've just done a new agreement on making sure pedophiles can assault children everywhere. Now you know why the Epstein files were released, this tranche. There's nothing to do for justice or justice for victims. And now you got Elon Musk saying, oh, if you've been a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, let me help you out. No, he's just trying to get leverage over his enemies to get another government handout. This is bold beyond belief. They just said, let's just do it. It's like Trump and the meme coins and just getting billions of dollars. No, let's just do it in front of everybody. This is it now. This is it. This is it. There's no ifs, giving an attaboy to Trump and saying, good boy, Trump. No. Traitor. They're everywhere. If the military doesn't step in now, if the US intelligence community does not step in and stop this immediately, I don't know. Then America's just going to sit there and take this. It could even come across as an act of utter desperation. In closing, because I gotta try and do a good voiceover. In closing, we have the rent boy, Dr. Jakob Hellberg. He has no qualifications really. He's done his NYU, worked at Google, but he's a rent boy. He's been placed there because he gives good performances in the SAC with his boyfriend. That's what he's there for. All right, he's hanging with Chabad. Oh, my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. Of course they were. Of course they were. And he's roaming around as a little front man like all the rest. And the Pax Silica. I'll leave a couple of links. I don't know what to say. I'm just going to put this up on YouTube and free and put it to everywhere and hope that this gets around as fast as possible. And you have to now see how Tucker Carlson's running cover, Candace Owens, all this, boo the Jews, I'll show the Talmud. Oh, the Jews ran the slave trade, but they don't really tell us anything. And Tucker's there laughing on World Wrestling Federation, Charlie Kirk. The Jews killed Jesus and they killed Charlie Kirk too. It was meant to get your attention, but he doesn't tell you anything. He's not going to tell you what I just told you. I mean, I knew this stuff was going on, but I just had no idea they were now formalizing the complete takeover and control of, it's not just US critical infrastructure. It's Australia, it's New Zealand, it's the UK. This is worse than bad. And people say, but there's nowhere to go. I suggest you just say no and just see what happens. So if you have to oust Trump, and absolutely at the midterms, to completely trounce the Republicans, put them trounce them so heavily and just make sure all the Democrat radical lunatics are in and just say, we'll take the radical lunatics right now rather than you. I'm not sure, America. You will have to decide. But all I know is you free America, you free the world. The Heritage Foundation has clearly shown itself to be, not just, compromised, completely traitorous. Bannon should be executed now. If Bannon doesn't come out swinging on this, then he needs to be executed. They all need execution. Let's not beat around the bush here. I'm not saying this for effect. Execution. I don't know how. You tell me, America, but you're the ones with 300 million firearms. You're the ones ready to lock and load. You're the ones ready. You've been doing all that practice room clearing. Well, if ever there was a time to let these treacherous, viperous scum know that you are not going to tolerate this another minute, now would be the time. Now would be the time. Preferably by professional killers and kidnappers, US Special Forces. Because I tell you what, it wouldn't take that much for a few of them to disappear before they all got in line and the giant transnational corporations were paying 47% on the dollar. And this whole nightmare was put under very strict control. No more Chabad Lubavitch. No more. No más. Basta. No más. No more little code words and hoping to, nudge and winks. No, just open. We will not tolerate psychopathic raving lunatics. Israel will be a secular state. It will be secularized and we put under the direct control of the United States. Now. Order. Now. I don't know, America, you're the ones with all the guns. I'm just some guy in Mexico with no power whatsoever, but you're the ones with all the guns. Mary's been running around doing what she can, and you know the story. I don't know what to say. If this isn't a call to arms, perhaps literally, I don't know what is. But it's quite clear. That tranche of the Epstein materials was about making sure the Trump administration continued down the path. That's a shot across the bows. And it's time for that orange clown needs to be removed. I don't care if he's executed, killed, mentally ill, has a stroke, fall downstairs. Get rid of him and his closet homosexual, Jared Kushner, son-in-law and daughter. Get rid of all of them, all the Chabad Lubavitch. It's time now. If you don't say it, it can't happen. You need to say it. Rid this cursed orange clown from the political scene now. Order now. To be replaced, I don't know, J.D. Vance, fine, whatever. Just get rid of this orange compromised clown, please. Okay? And then you'll deal with J.D. Vance as well. And you can deal with Peter Thiel. Get rid of this clown and Chabad out of the White House now. They are now bragging. We have taken over. It's like Trump and the meme coins. We will now accept all your drug money and we're going to do it in full view. Full view. Billions are in there now. Billions. Being paid not to talk 9/11, being paid not to talk about Epstein. Billions and billions of dollars. Full public view. Now they've said, yep, we've integrated the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation, the BIRD. We've integrated the US-Israel Energy Act, where before you were legislated to give them technology. And LEChem, which was their technology gathering arm of Israeli military intelligence, became the BIRD, and the Rafi. All of that stuff, which we gave. Whitney Webb didn't steal that off us. We gave it to her. She gave a good presentation on Rick Wiles. Rick Wiles tore that down, got a $250,000 payout to build his studio, and he's run onto Davos and he's asking direct questions to the president. That's Rick Wiles. There's another traitor that deserves execution, amongst Whitney Webb and all the rest. Remember how I told you Whitney Webb was the ultimate limited hangout? Listen to this. This is from March 2018. March 2019, sorry. March 2019. You ready? This is the United States Israel Energy Corporation. This is where Whitney got a law from.
A really good video coming up after I quickly do this one. So once you understand all those backdoors have been put in, all this stuff, it all was put into Israel. LEChem, which was to find technology all over the world with a particular focus on the United States. LEChem was disbanded just after the Pollard affair. For those that don't know, Jonathan Pollard was an American Jew with his loyalty to the state of Israel. And he was exposed and written about by other American Jews who do not have any loyalty to the state of Israel, who are very happy in the United States. Just to let you know, the best writing in that is Executive Intelligence Review, Mr. Steinberg. Now, LEChem was disbanded after Pollard. Dick Cheney was furious. That whole neocon crowd. I'm starting to rethink a lot of things. Don't worry, I'm not about to support the neocons, but there's a few things that need to be teased out in time. But they disbanded LEChem, but I'll tell you where they took it up. This is 1979, original legislation, the same time they were doing the Talpiot program. I think it was 78 or 79. This is the key. Thank you to the cat lady from Tennessee. Diane sent me this legislation a year ago. The United States Israel Energy Corporation. Here's the short version. They decided that why do things secretly? Why not fool Americans and American intelligence by coming through Israel as a revival of biblical Israel? That'll get all the evangelicals, religious people. Great Soviet Yuri Andropov. He knew how to exploit this in the modern day form, but it's been going on a while. Soviet Israel was set up at the same time as the Bolshevik Revolution. It's part of that whole Bolshevik Revolution, the Trotskyite internationalist order they're building now. All right. So what happened was, let's just put it out in the open. So what they've done is this. You're going to be amazed. You're not going to see it. It's like someone's raping your wife in the middle of the street under CCTV with a film crew, and they say, hey, he's raping your wife. And you're going, no, could just do it in front of everyone. I mean, someone would arrest him, wouldn't he? That must be a hologram. No, see, they're messing with your head. It's right here in the United States-Israel Energy Cooperation, right? Just very briefly, go and read this. It is in the highest national security interest of the United States to develop covered energy sources. No. That's just the front. This is about stealing tech out of the West. Listen, the state of Israel is a steadfast ally. Applause, please. Is a steadfast ally of the United States. You've got to read this. It's all here. The United States-Israel Energy Cooperation Act. The special relationship, one's the sucker. It's just like a woman conning her husband. You're trying to tell the husband she's screwing around, man. No, my wife wouldn't do that. The special relationship between the United States and Israel is manifested in a variety of cooperative scientific research and development programs, such as the United States-Israel Binational Science Foundation, 1973, set up under Henry Kissinger and President Nixon, who went to China and set up China. Are you seeing the links at the same time?
And now we see what the Heritage Foundations was set up at the exact same time, 1973, by a bunch of Swedish, German, Protestant Americans, who then filled it with Jewish Trotskyite neocons. And there they are right now. Isn't that right, Steve Bannon? America first. Isn't that right, Steve Bannon? You have betrayed the country, you scumbag.
Israel is running the Belt and Road, and it's sending the tech into Russia and China. Israel and Russia did 9/11 to get the US to come into the region, smash everything up, make itself look like a fool, ruin its reputation. Now they're going to shove the US back into North America and South America. And now the rest of the planet's going to be run by Russia, Israel, and China. The United States-Israel Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation. And when they broke up LECAM, you know who sat on the board of the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation, which was founded in 79. The BSF was founded in 73. Do you know who sat on that board? Rafi Eitan. He went from LECAM to the bird. Come in, sucker. And then they legislated right in front of you. Like someone comes to you and says, here's a legislation, I have permission to f*** your wife. And you're going, what? It's cognitive dissonance. It's psychological warfare. They put it right in front of you.
And nothing's changed, which is exactly what they've done now with the new one. Now they're saying, we're now taking over all your industrial controller chips, putting even more in, and we'll be controlling everything. Thank you. I know you don't have to thank us. Oh, thank you. And we'll be, taking over your country. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? That's what they're doing. And there's Donald Trump. There's the death now!
And they legislated for it. Look, from Title 42, the Public Health and Welfare, Energy Independence and Security, International Energy Programs to promote clean and efficient technologies in foreign countries. It's got nothing to do with promoting clean and efficient energy technologies in foreign countries. That's the cover. It's to do with transferring the technology to Israel, into Russia and China, and building them up to run the Belt and Road, and then collapse the United States. This is gold. Who's even talking about it? I had to get this sent to me by the cat lady from Tennessee, Diane. And you need to watch your stuff here. How deep is Israeli penetration of the US high-tech sector? You know those companies you think are US? They're Israeli. They're Israeli companies. DuckDuckGo? Do you use DuckDuckGo? That's got angel investors. It's Israeli. Biggest investments in Intel factories. This isn't just manufacturing the CPUs. It's design and fabrication. That's where they put the Core 2 series and all the Intel management engine. It was in it's Israel. Well, Russian technicians all over it. Would you allow Russian technicians to come into the US and start running your factory? You just did it in Israel. Your greatest ally ever. Do you realize how big this is? And who's talking about it? I think Thomas Lakarova talks about it occasionally. I did it big time with Mike Herzog and the American Awakening. And I think, what's his name? Blackstone Intelligence may have mentioned it. I hope True News get into this. This is the icing on the cake of the Talpiot program. So we have the United States-Israel Binational Science Foundation, the United States-Israel Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation. And if you watch BB's Got a Kill Switch, you'll see it all there. Do you remember BB bragging? Best Soviet scientist.
Best metallurgist?
Best metallurgist. Russia, Soviet.
Unqualified, I think I'd say the Soviet Union.
Do you want me to repeat that? Unqualified, I think the Soviet Union. That's how they got him in.
Qualified, I think I'd say the Soviet Union.
Watch that video. I love that video. That is the product. 10,000 views. It should have 1 million views. That is a product of the hacking. I had to go away for my 3-day visa run, and I had the long version done, and I couldn't upload the long version. Computers were crashing, couldn't connect. And while I was in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, I made this short one. Best thing that ever happened. Thank you, God. BB has the kill switch, and it's all based around the Binational Science Foundation, the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation. Henry Kissinger put that in place. Henry Kissinger, Council on Foreign Relations, still there, still doing it. Kissinger and Associates in China. Rittenberg and Associates in China. The handler for Mao. These programs have made possible many scientific, technological, commercial breakthroughs in the fields of life sciences, medicine, bioengineering, agriculture, biotechnology, communications, and others, and missile intercept technology. Because you're too dumb and stupid. And Elbit System has to write all your code for the F-35, don't they? Yeah, and build wing parts. And Turkey, of course, has to build engine parts, don't they? And then they buy the Russian S-4. Do you see this disaster? Lockheed, all the military-industrial complex, Boeing, Lockheed, especially Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, they all have to go. All the heads have to roll. Public inquiries to what they've done.
I may ask Marilyn Lockheed, the leading woman's business executive in this country, according to many. And we buy billions and billions of dollars worth of that beautiful F-35. It's stealth. You cannot see it. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Better be correct, right?
Significant contributions to development of renewable energy and energy efficiency through the established programs of the United States, Israel, Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation, and the United States, Israel, Binational Science Foundation, which is literally Lakem-based Soviet Israel, Israeli military intelligence. And as we know, Israel is filled with Russians. They run the place. Russians run it, most of whom don't even identify as Jewish. On February the 1st, 1996, the Secretary of Energy, referred to in this section as the Secretary, and the Israeli Minister of Energy and Infrastructure signed an agreement to establish a framework for collaboration between the United States and Israel in energy research and development activities. That's the cover. Energy research. No. It's the massive transfer of the US high technology sector into Israel, China, and Russia as they build the Belt and Road project. This has been planned for years. This is a Soviet-era plan, Stalinist pan-Eurasian plan. That's all it is. Israel and Russia did 9/11 to force the US into the region, to smash the place to pieces. Now, DOD say, well, let China, Alex Jones said, let China go in there and get killed. No. China, with Israeli technology they stole off the US, which Alex Jones allows to happen. That's what Alex Jones is, the biggest traitor of all, for all his talk. He's the biggest traitor of all. He has a massive audience. He could stop this single-handed by taking this information. He won't touch it. That's what they're doing. Israel did 9/11, Russia did 9/11. It was part of that Bolshevik internationalist Trotskyite plan. Trotsky was the internationalist. They wanted to flood immediately in 1919 into Western Europe, and it was Polish Catholics who stopped them. Who even knows this? Threw them back across the Vistula. Polish Catholics taking heavy casualties. So sick of attacking them. Look, listen. The Catholic Church is not evil. The people within the Catholic Church are evil. They're infiltrated. And if you want to do BB a favour, destroy the Catholic Church. Enhanced cooperation between, do you remember the Catholic President Kennedy? They killed him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And
Yeah, it's a good video.
highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
No, today, the perpetrators are lauded as your alt media stars and fly first class everywhere.
With the Fulbright Commission, Senator Fulbright.
Senator, another area that I'd like to get into is the role of lobbies in the conduct of American foreign policy, which we touched on briefly yesterday. As you know, very often the lobbies that are effective often deny the fact that they're a lobby or that they constitute a lobby. And In particular, the ones we were talking about yesterday were the pro-Israeli lobby, the defense lobby.
And then I had voted against an amendment to an aid bill introduced by Paul Douglas, intended to force the Egyptians to open the canal to the Israelis on an aid bill. I took the position that it was wrong to use an aid bill as a vehicle to impose a political decision on a foreign government. I thought, as a matter of procedure, as chairman, as one of the persons that are interested, I opposed it. And therefore, I immediately became anti-Semitic in the views of the Jews. I don't think it had anything to do with that, but he spoke into your public. You still are a going institution, I hope, and you will continue to be. But I think you ought to think twice before you allow such things. I made a very casual statement once on Face the Nation. They asked me why. They had asked me, why don't we stop shipment of arms into the Middle East? I said, we ought to, but we can't. And they said, why not? I said, because Israel has 75% of the votes in the Congress. Oh my goodness, the lid really flew off, and I was condemned, harassed terribly over such a statement. I thought I was just stating a simple fact. It's a dangerous issue. It's a dangerous issue.
Senator, when might we change it then for the long-term health of Duke?
You ought to put that. I would recommend you take that off the record.
McCarthy, you're going to have to kiss McCarthy's ass. I'm sorry. He was well and truly onto it. Did he? Was he a little bit aggressive? Yes. You're going to have to see things totally differently. That's why they killed Kennedy. Michael Collins Piper, please. Michael Collins Piper. Didn't get everything right, but man, you've got to read his books. Enhanced cooperation. That was your last real president, Kennedy. After that.
Not a perfect president, mind you, but he meant well. But definitely not perfect. Too much crystal methamphetamine by his doctor, his Jewish doctor, and screwing East German Stasi assets. There were some big problems with John Fitzgerald Kennedy, but he absolutely meant well. There are no white hats, okay? There are no white hats. There's just grey hats. You can watch that video. I'll put that up. It's about the bird after this one. I didn't mean to bury the lead, but it's just, they've just put it in your face now. They've legalized child sexual assault. It's the same thing. They've just come out and said, yeah, we're running it. There they are all meeting. There's the prostitute, the male prostitute. Intel and the United States signed a joint statement. Israel and the United States joined on artificial intelligence. Now, when I knew this was happening, but I thought, well, I said to people, you remember, I said they're going to build the big, huge data center there and the US will supervise. They've just handed the keys to the kingdom to Israeli programmable logic chips and industrial controller chips. You remember Christo Mass and the deeply embedded core they were putting in the chips. You remember this stuff? The hunt for the kill switch. A chip maker's building electronic trapdoors in key military hardware. The Pentagon is making its biggest effort yet to find out. This is from the 1st of May 2008. What an article. Look, I could go on and on. I'm doing a voiceover. I'm almost feeling completely helpless and I feel rather demoralized. Basically what they've done is everything we talked about, Talpiot, Unity, Toronto, they're not just little Whitney, they're in here and they're in over here. Remember we kept saying she's lying, she's a limited hangout. They're in everything. Remember we said Radcom and Red Group? Huge Israeli company that were running all the power grids and the water and the oil and the gas, remember? And I said, she won't say the name. We gave her all that stuff. She just stopped and went on to Epstein and Les Wexner and maybe they compromised people. Compromised people, sexual blackmail, baby, that's 10% of it. They've taken over the core critical infrastructure. They're running everything. One click of a mouse and they switch the power, the banks go off, everything. It's a tactical, the direct equivalent, which maybe might wake people up, maybe Dennis Quaid can do another video with Tucker Carlson, is you've given control of your nuclear weapons to Israel. And you've said, look, Israel has got a cyber hardened their launch programmable codes, and it's better to have Israel have control of our nuclear weapons. Yes, yes, yes. You'd say, that's absurd. What are you talking about? That should be the reaction when they've taken over all your critical infrastructure. And now they're just openly admitting it, fully smiling. And there's that orange clown and Chabad and Bannon and Heritage just going right along with it. So, that's where we're at. There's nothing good about the orange clown. There's nothing good to talk about. You're going to have the whores with their tongue up the orange clown's backside. It's over. I thought there'd be some pushback and there'd be renegotiations and it'd take some time, but we'd see. No, they've just come out swinging and said, we're doubling down. Man, these people have told us what they're going to do. All I can say is good luck for the future. We'll talk again soon. Do a voiceover. That's why I don't do these talking heads much, because I can't bear it any longer.